And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Johnson versus Morton. Step forward, please.
Nurse Danae Johnson and her husband, Robert, are suing their niece's boyfriend, 18-year-old handyman Derek Morton, for damaging their car.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, is this your daughter?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Your daughter was dating the defendant.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah. And you didn't approve.
Absolutely not.
According to your complaint, the defendant purposely damaged your car, or the truck that you were in. And it appears to me that when you came home one day, if your daughter wasn't home, you went to the police station to find out if they could help. You thought she was with the defendant. You were on your way home. You saw his truck. You decided to follow his truck, to confront him, and talk to him about dating your daughter. Is that right?
Yes.
And it was during this attempt to talk to him that he damaged your vehicle.
No.
Why don't you tell me what happened? You go home, you don't find your daughter. You go to the police, you're on your way home. You see his truck. Pick it up from there.
We followed the truck, and he took a turn.
You followed the truck?
Yes.
Go ahead.
He takes a turn down a road that has a circle drive on it, and as he went into the circle drive, I stopped and just sit there waiting for him to make the turn and come out the other side.
So you blocked his way?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
My husband got out of the car, went to the passenger side of the car, pulled our daughter out of the car.
You go over to the passenger side. Open the door?
Yep.
And how did you pull your daughter out?
I grabbed her by the arm and pulled her on out of there, and
And what is she saying to you as you're pulling her out of the car?
she started screaming, and I don't know exactly what she was saying, but she was yelling.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Danae and Robert Johnson claim they spotted their 14-year-old daughter driving with 18-year-old Derek Morton. The Johnsons say when they pulled them over, Derek damaged their car.
Okay, you get her out of his truck.
Right.
And what do you do with her when you get her out of his truck?
Well, she's standing beside me. I kind of leaned in my head in there to tell him to not be messing with my daughter, and that's when he started to take off. And he kind of hit me with his truck on the leg, and then I was worried about her because she was out of the car, and he started coming toward her and hit her with the truck.
Hit her body or hit her car?
Hit her body.
Our daughter was jumping on his back and telling Derek, go, take off, take off. I got out of the car to go get my daughter, was what I was doing. And
to pull
she started
your daughter
screaming.
off your husband's back?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And she was yelling, take off, Derek, take off. And as I rounded the back of the car, he just floored it and was taken off. And I threw myself out of the way, caught my arm with his truck, kind of spun me around a little bit. He went on down the road, and I was furious, to say the least. We all got in the car, and we're headed to the police station. And we get down the gravel road a little ways, and Derek's just kind of toying around, going 3, 4, or 5 miles an hour, you know. Not really fast enough that you could follow him, so I stopped and looked down to grab an ink pen to have my husband write down his license plate number so there could be no question who it was. And as I was looking down, Bob and Jennifer yelled, watch out, Mom! And before I could look up, he had already thrown his truck in reverse, reversed into me, and then it takes off again.
That's what happened. So I was absolutely right. You went to talk to him and get your daughter out of his company, and it was during that time that you alleged that he both assaulted you with his truck and assaulted you with his truck and caused damage to your vehicle. Right?
Right.
That's what I said when we started. So I only have a couple of questions for you, Derek. How old are you?
18.
How old is she?
15.
14.
14. You get the drift that her parents aren't crazy about you.
Yeah, but I want to tell my side of the story too, so.
I'm ready.
All right. They said it's a bunch of bullshit.
Now listen to me. Listen to me. Derek, do you know the difference between rain and shine?
Yes.
Listen to me. Look at me. I don't want you to follow it through. You know the difference between rain and shine? Yes?
Yes.
Do you know the difference between black and white?
Yes.
Do you know the difference between a playground and a courthouse?
Mm-hmm.
Speak.
Yes.
In a playground, you can use whatever language you like. In a courthouse, watch your mouth, or then I don't listen to you. Do we understand each other, Derek? Now, you're going to start to tell me your story again, but you're going to leave out the playground language. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Speak.
Yes.
Good. Now I'll hear you.
All right. I was driving down the road, right? And then she was on my bumper.
Correct. That's exactly what she was doing. They did exactly the wrong thing. Whatever they did was wrong, mother and father.
Can you let me finish my story?
Did you just hear what I said? I said whatever they did was wrong.
Well, be quiet while I'm talking. All right, what's this? You.
Oh, get him out of here. Listen, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, sometimes God did not shine on you right. God did not shine on him and give him brains. It gave him the brain cells of an amoeba. You know, we all had to start from someplace. So I understand if you don't want your daughter to have anything to do with him. However, you went about it the wrong way. Do you understand?
Yes.
You went around it the wrong way. Your initial reaction was right. You went to the police station and you said, my underage daughter is with this 18-year-old cretin, and I want him out of her company. But you cut him off. You touched his car, sir. When you grabbed open the door to his car, you put your hands on his property in a threatening manner. You created a situation where your own daughter is jumping on your back. Is that ridiculous?
Well, I wasn't going to do nothing. The cops told me if I assaulted him, I'd be going to jail. So
Listen to me, sir. You were creating a situation that potentially was inflammatory because he doesn't have any brains. He reacts. He reacts like an animal. Do you understand?
yes, ma'am.
And you probably knew that. I assume that you knew that. Maybe she doesn't know that. But you were smart enough to know that. You don't confront an animal. You let professionals, exterminators, confront animals. That's what the police are there for. You don't do it yourself, because when you do it yourself, you get your truck banged up. And that's what happens, and you got to pay for it. You still see him? Are you sure?
I'm sure. I think he's a jerk.
A jerk? Huh. To put it mildly, jerk. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, go home. Take your daughter home. Goodbye. That's all.
Oh, it's your excuse. You may step out.
I don't think it was right, and I'm not going to think it was right. He's devastated my entire family.
Her being raped because she's just a kid and him getting away with it and cops not helping us.
I was with him because she made me mad and made my boyfriend break up with me.
Keep a good eye on your child and know where she's going at all times.
Around him.
Helen Adams is suing 19-year-old construction worker Alex Contreras and his mother, maintenance worker Ana Maria Asensio, for damage caused to her car when she hit their dog. Alex and his mother are countersuing for
And happened.
December 16th,
What time?
approximately 10:15 p.m.
What kind of a car were you driving?
A 93 Saturn.
According to your complaint, the defendant's dog ran out into the middle of the road. Your car hit the dog. A lot of damage was caused to your car you want the defendants to pay for.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, the dog was killed, not immediately, after the dog was hit by your car. And they say that you were probably going too fast. They are counterclaiming for the pain and suffering that they felt when their dog died and for the value of the dog. What kind of a street is this?
It's a residential. It's a very narrow residential street.
Do you live in that neighborhood?
No.
What were you doing there?
I had taken some paperwork to my friend that lives around the corner from them.
Is there lighting in the streets?
It's not a lot of lighting, no. It's not as bright as a busy street.
Tell me what happened.
I had left my friend's house. I pulled around the corner, and it was approximately 6 houses down. This dog ran out in front of me. I don't even think I had a chance to hit my brakes when I hit it. It ran between two cars, and I was there.
Were there cars parked on the side of the street?
Oh yeah, it's a very busy street. It's a tight street.
So there were cars parked and the dog ran out in between the cars?
Yes.
What was your dog doing out without a leash?
I wasn't there at the time, but
Okay, so you don't know. Who was, who was there?
Well, my neighbor, my guest neighbor, he
Your
was
who?
there. He saw everything what happened.
Just
that
a
night.
second.
Sorry.
Were you there?
No.
Well, who
But
was there?
My witness, him.
I was right there.
Tell me what your name is.
My name is Gerardo Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, were you taking care of the dog?
No, I had it was in 10:15 p.m. Excuse me.
You answer my questions.
Okay.
First, put your hands down. Were you taking care of the dog?
Yes, I was.
You just told me no. Were you taking care of the dog or were you not taking care of the dog?
Yes, I was taking care of the dog.
Okay. What was the dog doing without a leash?
Well, he followed me out to the street. It was approximately 4:50, between 4:30 and 5 o'clock when that
I don't
lady
care
ran
what
over the
time
dog.
it was. First of all, what kind of dog is this?
It's a Rottweiler.
So it's a big dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was this big dog doing in your care without a leash?
Had gone out to the street
For what?
to get a football across the street.
You went out to go get a football across the street.
Yes.
And
And I picked it up, and the dog followed me accidentally. I guess out to the street, and I was talking to my elderly neighbor that lives right in front of my house when I saw the dog coming towards me. So I told him go back. So he was going back. Approximately the car was coming 40 to 50 miles per hour when the impact.
sit down. Did you leave him in charge of your house?
He's my guest house.
He lives, in,
lives
It's
in
my
the-
house. Like I got a guest home.
he lives in the back
In
of
the
our
back of my
house, in
house.
our guest home.
So he was in charge of your dog?
Well, we're not there at the moment.
At the time, he was the only one that was there and seeing everything with
What
my neighbor.
happened?
Let me listen to me. When you weren't home, where did you put your dog?
On the backyard.
And his house is in the backyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if he goes out and the dog is not chained or anything, he's just in the backyard.
Yes.
He let the dog out.
Yeah.
He let the dog out.
Yeah.
So, what do you want from her? You got a big Rottweiler. He walks out to get a football, goes across the streets talking to somebody. He's not paying attention. He doesn't know whether he's a foot or horseback. He lets your big dog come out, and your dog gets hit by a car.
How come she drive 45 or 50 miles per
You
hour?
weren't,
a lie.
madam, let me
That's what
explain
she
something to
said.
you. You weren't there. You weren't there. It's his fault, not her fault. It's his fault. And if he made up a
agree with that.
story that the car was speeding, that's just to make himself feel better because of his negligence, the dog got out of the backyard and the dog got hit. Dogs are stupid. They're not smart. Dog doesn't say, "Oh, I could get hit by a car if I ran out between these two cars." It sees somebody that they knew walking out, followed him. He doesn't turn around before he crosses the street and say, "Oh, I left the gate open. The dog followed me out. I better go put the dog back inside or get a leash." No, 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 no. He goes over to talk to a neighbor, right? Very smart, very intelligent. Let me see the damage to the car, please.
Here's the estimate. I already paid for that. That's been paid for the radiator.
What did you do after the dog came in
After I hit
contact
the-
with your car?
After I hit the dog, I got out to see if the dog was okay, and the dog got up and took off running. So I asked him to stay with the car, and I followed the dog. Well, the dog jumped into a yard, and there was a gentleman, nobody here, but there was a gentleman standing in the front yard that didn't speak Spanish. And I said, "Is somebody
Didn't
here?"
speak English.
I mean, I'm sorry, only spoke Spanish. Didn't speak English. And a little girl ran in the house and asked some lady to come out who spoke English. So I said, "Is that your dog?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Well, I just hit it," and I said, "I've got damage to my new car," and I said, "I'd like to have it taken care of." At which point she said, "Okay." We walked over. She looked at my car, and she said, "That's not my dog. That belongs to my father-in-law." I said, "Okay." So I said, "Can I have his number?" They gave me a business card, and I said, "Okay." They said, "Call tomorrow." So I called the next morning. He wasn't there. So I called for several days, and finally I went over there and I spoke to this gentleman right here, and he threatened me with bodily
Oh,
injury,
my God.
me and my household.
That's a lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a lie.
Your Honor, I had a witness.
Wait, Your Honor, can
I had a witness that's in the hospital.
Listen to me. I'm going to give you a chance to respond to. I don't want you. Pay careful attention where you are. You're in a courtroom. You're not outside. She's going to testify. Then you're going to have a chance to rebut what she says. All right?
I had a witness. He's in the hospital. He would
I'm
be
not
here today.
interested in seeing
And then here's a
witness's
letter from
statement.
my mother that I was on a
I'm not
speakerphone and
interested
they
in a letter
threatened
from
me.
your mother.
Okay. They just threatened me over the phone too. At
Go
which
ahead.
point, my mom's very ill and I can't put my mom through that, so we moved.
Damages are about $3,000 to the car. It was done?
I also missed the hospital appointment 2 days later because my car was out of commission that I was supposed to have a
Should have
surgery.
taken a cab. Don't be ridiculous.
It's
Don't
in
pad it.
Hawthorne.
Don't.
I'm
listen to
disabled.
me.
I have no money.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Don't pad it.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Genius over here doesn't call the vet immediately, doesn't call a hospital immediately to take the dog over. He lets the dog bleed to death for 6 hours.
And later today,
She jabs his stick into the truck a couple times. She said something about, "My man stayed all night with you last night." I was like, "Your man ain't stayed all night with me. I have no clue what you're talking about or who the F you are."
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Helen Adams says Alex Contreras and his mother Ana Maria Asensio owe for damage to her car when she ran over their dog. Alex and his mom say Helen was driving too fast.
I don't think that you were going 50 or 60 miles an hour down that street. I think that he said that just to make himself feel a little bit better because he's really responsible for the dog getting killed. Put your hand down.
I was going to say so.
I'm not interested. If I were interested, I know what it means. I didn't think you had to go to the bathroom,
he's
sir.
lying. I was there
Listen
too.
to
I'm
me,
in the
sir.
same neighborhood.
Listen to me, sir. It's his fault that the dog got killed. He left the gate open and allowed the dog to get out. If he were careful and left his house and closed the gate, then the dog wouldn't have had an opportunity to run out between two parked cars and get killed. It's his fault.
Their dog jumps the fence.
I'm
sorry.
That's not what he said happened.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm just curious about something. The dog got back to your house. Did you take the dog to the vet?
Yeah, it was too late. So we had called sanitation, animal control, and by the time it was, I don't know, by the time, I wasn't there, man, to tell you the truth, but no, I got there 4 or 5 days later, because she was...
Got there 4 or 5 days later?
Because she was...
Quiet. When you realized the dog had been hit, did you call a vet immediately?
No.
What time did you get home?
Around 10.
Around 10 o'clock at night. Where was the dog?
He was over there bleeding.
So according to this gentleman, this happened 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The dog was still alive when you came home at 10 o'clock. That's what you said?
Bleeding.
Yeah, of course, bleeding from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, according to this genius.
To tell you the truth, I don't know if he was dead or not because I don't take care of the dog. Only my son, and you know them, because I don't...
Pay careful attention to me. He testified that this happened at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He walked out of the yard, leaving the door open. The dog came out, the dog got hit. Right? The dog is bleeding. Genius over here doesn't call the vet immediately, doesn't call a hospital immediately to take the dog over. He lets the dog bleed to death for 6 hours. I mean, this is somebody...
I know, I understand.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
Don't let him take care of your children.
No, my children, I take care of them.
Don't let him take care of your
No.
children. Good.
I'm
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
All right, guys, excuse you may step out.
The problem was the dog was big. If I'd have been going faster, it would have busted my windshield because he came up on my hood.
She got up, oh, whose F dog is this? Who's F the F owner? Who's this? Who's that? Come on.
They said, no problem, we'll take care of it. And then they just, all of a sudden, everything changed after they saw the damage done to my car.
She knows she's lying. Obviously, she's lying.
They threatened me with bodily injury to me and my household.
She said I threatened her. That's the first lie. If anything, she threatened
The vehicle if this is going to be a problem.
Hopefully in the future we'll do a better job.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Boncheva versus Lowhorn. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Petya Boncheva is suing 23-year-old welder Larry Lowhorn for keying Petya's car. Larry is denying the charge.
All right, this is not going to take long, Bird. Don't get too comfortable. According to your complaint, you knew the defendant. Whether you liked him or he liked you, I quite frankly don't care whether you were friends or not, but according to your complaint, you were at somebody else's house. You walked into the house, he's sitting there with his shoes off, and you commented that he had dirty socks, which irritated him. The next thing you knew, you went outside, so you saw that somebody had keyed your car, and you say it was the defendant. He says, you did comment about his dirty socks, but he didn't key your car. Correct. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
I probably think you keyed her car. Just watching you, watching your body language. I'm really smart when it comes to that. I think you did do that, but it, see what I mean?
Yes.
But it's up to her to prove it to me. And you have no witnesses, is that right?
No.
Nobody saw him do it?
No.
He didn't admit that he did it?
No.
So what do you want me to do?
Well, he actually did say that he was going to do something to my car, and the night
Actually,
that...
Your Honor.
Don't speak until I speak to you.
Yes.
The night that he keyed my car, we were over at my friend Keith's house.
Don't give me the whole story. I want to know. He said he was going to key your car. When did he say he was going to do something
After I made a comment about his socks, telling him that his socks were dirty, he looked at me and he said, well, you really shouldn't make comments to people that know what kind of car you drive. So I said, you don't even know what kind of car I drive, and he reminded me how we met and the night he'd seen my car. So I was like, okay, you know, he knows my car. Then right after he made a comment, he said, well, you better watch out now. Watch what happens to you now.
So you have pretty good reason to think that it was him. right?
Yeah.
But you understand that in court you have to have proof.
Yeah, well, actually, we did call, I did call the Clinton Township Police Department. We did make a report about it. I was in there for not more than a half an hour, and after he made a comment, he went outside for 5 minutes, and you know, he came back, he just looked at me and smiled. So my friend Keith said, well, let's go look at your car, you know, maybe he did do something to it. So me and him walked outside and seen my car was keyed. Right after he was out there for 5 minutes, came back, and you know, we went outside. So
what did the police tell you when you reported it?
They told me to make a report about it, take him to court, because
they couldn't do anything about it because you had no witnesses. They couldn't arrest him.
No.
Now you want to say something?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. What she is failing to mention at first is that she was kind of upset with me in the beginning, before all this even started, because like when we initially met.
I don't care.
Okay.
Get to her car.
Okay, when I got to the apartment and she started saying this stuff to me.
About your dirty socks.
Yes.
And about your hygiene.
Yes, I kind of got aggravated, so I kind of went outside. My witness, Sam, and another girl were outside. They were talking. I went out there to use the phone because we had gotten the argument. I called my girlfriend to come pick me up because